my other set of eyes off.
I need to ask our talent if we're good.
Yeah,
all right,
I can't see anyone.
Where'd Josh go?
Josh, you look great.
Hey, welcome to our recording. So if you happen to be watching right now, odds are you're either watching us live on YouTube, or I think we're also on Helicity TV tonight as well. If you go to helicity.co and somewhere in the menu, you can pull down television, and we're live there too. But you also might be watching us after the fact. Maybe you're streaming us off the YouTube channel. Regardless, we got episode 96 tonight. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. We got Mr. Hurricane Man himself, Josh Morgerman, is with us, man. We're excited about that. But you are watching Stormfront Freaks Raw, which means you're catching all the in-between stuff. We edit all this crap out after the fact and upload to our actual audio podcast. So if you'd rather actually just listen to the edited version of the show, which is going to be probably a little shorter as well, you can do that. Go to any of the podcast apps, Apple Podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Spotify. We're on pretty much anything. Just search Stormfront Freaks, and you can find the show. We usually upload that a few days after we record. Would give you a heads up on that.
Would we edit out things like, "Hey, Dina, only one of your propellers is moving"?
Yeah, she's got. What's up with your camera?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Okay.
It wasn't using the right one.
Jeez, how many camera angles do you have?
Wow, she's got multiple cameras.
I know it.
Well, I have multiple laptops, and then I have the Logitech camera that you sent me.
All right. Camera one. Go camera one.
Go camera one.
Ready, camera two. Go camera two.
Okay, trans now.
All right. White balance.
And also, just a heads up too, if you happen to be watching the recording here, Stormfront Freaks Raw, we always encourage the kids to wear their earmuffs because you never know what might be said. You know, I'm gonna get. Have you guys ever seen? What's it? Will Ferrell. Oh gosh, what's
Elf?
that movie? No,
I love that movie.
Anchorman.
Anchorman.
Oh
No.
He goes to. It's at a college. They go to a college and a fraternity.
Yeah.
Old school. No, is that
I love
it?
old school.
And they're like, and he tells his, and one of them tells his kids earmuffs, and then he just like swears 3 things right in a row. Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna get that clip so I can like play it and just.
yes.
All right, so we got everyone. So hey, Josh, we got Dina is on.
Hi, Josh.
Dina works at the Weather Channel digital side of things as a producer. We got Jennifer Watson on. She's a big social media buff. Used to work the Weather Channel. Now at AgriPulse, meteorologist. Maz, you met, so he's a former TV meteorologist.
Not at the Weather Channel.
Not at the Weather Channel. No,
You
local.
could be.
Everybody
if you
else
wanted
is.
Local guy.
Yeah.
If you wanted to, you could.
Yeah, we've got me, Jen, and Kim all have been Mets at the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
Wow.
We steal them all and we get them as guests after they leave. That's kind of the key. Unless they're on the digital side, then the digital side's a little more.
We can do whatever we want.
And unless it's Cantori, because then he just
Then
comes on.
what he wants.
He does what he wants.
Or Jen Carfagno came on without asking and then got in trouble.
Got in trouble.
Oh wow. Oh, there's like regulations around it.
Apparently.
Yeah, something about which is stupid because wouldn't you think that if like you're on TV, wouldn't you think you'd want to get them out, like get those personalities out to get more attention elsewhere?
That's what I said.
That's because
Even my bosses in New York, they're like, we love it.
Yeah, our ratings are better than the Weather Channel. So
I know. Well, hey, I'm not talking TV. I'm talking digital.
All right, so everybody looks good. We got just a reminder. I think everyone's got their 720 HD camera settings good. Everyone's microphone sounds good.
MJ, you look really sharp, like vivid, like
Awesome.
your picture. I mean, you always look sharp, but I mean, your picture looks vivid.
Finally.
Yeah, that's good.
Good. Keep your mic close to you if you can, if you got one. Try not to.
Everybody should have a mic.
Bump if your mic's on your desk or something like that. Try not to bump it much. Yep, like that. That's bad. And I think we're good. Josh, you got any questions? Dina, can you get your head higher move your camera down a little bit so we get you Up a lot. I'd probably say the same to Jen, but her head is extended another foot
It is
with her little hair.
because of the
bob.
bun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool decoration.
But if you can, Jen,
Marker.
any chance you can move your camera down just a little bit further?
Yeah.
There we go. That's good.
Better.
All right. Awesome. So we'll do the intro to the show. Talk about some past things, and then a quick mention of Josh being on the show tonight. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about our 100th episode that we're going to do live in Oklahoma City.
We are.
And then find out what everyone's drinking. Josh, are you? What are you consuming
Imbibing.
tonight?
Just coffee.
All right, so we're going to skip you
Yeah,
on that.
Go easy.
You better skip me.
square. Yeah.
No, we're not going
Sorry.
to skip. All right, no, I'm kidding. We're good.
Party pooper.
This I thought, Josh, you said on Twitter this was going to be your tell-all tale tonight.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
So we
I was
got
wondering
to
if I was going to get in trouble for saying that, like it was maybe needlessly provocative.
we got to get
It
you a
is
little something in you, I think, to
Hurricane
cover that. But anyway, once we go around, introduce our co-hosts, then Maz, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce Josh. Do you have the updated info I sent you?
Yes, he's from Finland, and
Yeah.
yeah, I got that.
You got
Wednesday.
the updated one,
from
right?
Wednesday. Yeah,
Yep. Just
Yeah, I
yesterday.
sent a couple of edits.
Yep, we got that updated, so we should be good
Cool.
there. If not, we'll cut it quick and redo it
yeah.
because we can do that. And then we'll get to questions, and then, like I said, about 20, 25 after, we'll take a quick break and then come back.
Cool.
All right. Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Coming in. 3, 2.
Somebody just barked. Somebody barked.
All right, we'll try that
We're gonna
again.
try that
Yeah,
again.
someone did
Sorry.
bark. Did someone
I know.
bark, or did someone's dog bark?
I don't have a dog.
I don't either.
I
did,
got
but
a turtle
didn't.
behind me.
I know.
Oh, that's
Quiet.
what it was.
There you
I have
go.
no
All right,
Josh, you hound you.
here we go. In 3, 2. Hey, welcome everybody to the most entertaining weather podcast on your listening and viewing device. This is the award-winning Stormfront Freaks podcast. It's brought to you by Atmosphere Weather App. It's your hourly weather forecast on a clock for a quick read. It's the last daily weather app you're ever going to need. And I speak from experience there. Atmosphere Weather App. It's available on Apple and Android. You can learn more at atmosphereweather.com. And don't forget to also check out, guys, stormfrontfreaks.com, because that's going to have our whole backlog of all of our previous shows. We've had shows with chase teams like the Tornado Trackers and Base Hunters Chasing. We've had Hurricane Hunters lead Warren Madden on the show. We also online, we've got a Zoom Radar Chaser map
It's cool.
that it's interactive, so you can actually check different things, track the storms, and you can actually follow the chasers live streams to see what they're seeing. Is a really cool app, and with the storms that we got coming up here the next couple days, just kind of a neat little resource if you go to stormfrontfreaks.com. But tonight, this is episode 96, and we've got star of Hurricane Man, Mr. Josh Morgerman is with us tonight.
Yeah.
So, Josh, we're excited to have you on. We're also going to, of course, drag him through our infamous lightning round, which will be a good time. I know he's excited about that. And then we got hashtag Weather Fools. As always, we got some good ones to share with you, and certainly some WX resources and a lot more. But before we get to all of that, I do want to start letting everybody know, I've been teasing this a little bit. We've got our 100th episode is coming up. It's going to be on March 6th. Which is actually a Friday. Normally we record on Thursdays, but this is going to be on a Friday. But what's unique about our 100th episode, besides being 100, we've decided to make a party out of it. So we're all getting together, all the co-hosts. We're flying into Oklahoma City, and we're going to be recording the 100th episode live at Vanessa Beer Company in downtown Oklahoma City. Again, that's
Nice.
on Friday, March 5th.
Woo!
That'll be at 8 o'clock Central. So first off, come on down. If you're anywhere near Oklahoma City, this is your invitation right now. Start making plans here to come see us. But the other exciting thing that we've got is we're going to have guests coming in. First off, meteorologist and Oklahoma TV legend Gary England is actually going to be
Gary.
live
Fun.
on site, so you can meet Gary. We've had him couple times on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And also the WCM at the National Weather Service in Norman, Rick Smith, is also going to be there with us as well. So we got a couple great weather guys and past guests that we've had come out to see us all. It's going to be an amazing live event. And what's really cool about this, Josh, is they're doing a special beer tapping.
That's the most important.
Just for our show. So, and we're going to have lots of giveaways, a lot of other things. So start making plans now to be in Oklahoma City that weekend with us. Have a great time and enjoy yourselves. And on that note, good segue, it's always happy hour every time we record, whether we're in a brewery or not. We're still drinking, usually, or most of us. So it's always happy hour. So we invite you to join us, have a good time as we go through our shows, and tonight with Josh. So I'm going to start MJ. MJ, I want to find out what you're drinking up in Minnesota.
Yeah, well, tonight I'm drinking Diet Mountain Dew. I kind of treated myself pretty poorly over the holidays. So,
I know.
you know.
Being smart. Being
Yeah.
smart.
Right.
Ease back a little bit. All right, Maz in Cincinnati. What do you got, brother?
I have mixed a Colorado Bulldog. Well, sort of.
Whoa.
Yeah, a Colorado
I don't even know
Bulldog.
what that is.
It's a White Russian with Coke. Unfortunately, we had no Coke, so it's got Dr. Pepper. So it's
Wow.
a Colorado.
That's
full pepper.
amazing.
It's just something I don't know.
Like,
It's
hey, you
good.
kids, give me that Kool-Aid. It'll go in here.
Oh man,
It's
that's
actually
awesome.
pretty good.
What's it
It's
called again?
foamy. It's a Colorado Bulldog.
Okay.
So it's a White Russian with normally Coke, but this got Dr. Pepper, and it's half gone.
There you go.
So just
Yeah,
saying.
that's
Good
Must
stuff.
be
impressive.
good.
Thank you.
Good stuff. All right, Dina, down in Atlanta, what are you drinking tonight?
I just have a basic Michelob Ultra. I'm boring. You guys are so much more fancier than
Low
I am.
Happy
carb.
New Year.
Low carb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know.
not.
Happy New Year. How about
Happy
you,
New
Jen?
Year.
Jen Watson, also down in Atlanta. What are you drinking?
Hot chocolate.
Ah.
Because it's
Jen,
yeah.
when you come to Oklahoma City, am I going to be able to get you a drink, or is it always going to be a lemonade and a?
No, you can get me a drink.
Good,
So
okay. That's all
yeah,
I need to know.
She won't
Josh-
drink it,
We'll
but you can
spike
get
it. She won't know.
Yeah, usually I
Oh.
drink sparkling water, or like sometimes coffee. I don't drink that much really anymore, but
We'll get you heavy water.
Oh,
Well,
I like
while we keep drinking, let's turn it over to Maz to go ahead and introduce our special guest tonight.
Did you ask him if he was drinking? Oh yeah. What are you drinking?
I
Josh?
did.
you?
Yeah.
What did you say?
It wasn't exciting enough to ask him. That was the
Oh,
challenge.
Oh,
Well, look
hold
at
on.
what the rest of
Something
us
up
have.
good.
It is.
All right.
It is coffee, but I make it hardcore by putting whipping cream in it. So there you go.
Oh, there we go.
Dangerous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you and Jen with
That's
the whipped
awesome.
topping
The
on
edge.
the top of the hot chocolate stuff. That'd be awesome. Anyway,
You could say you have shots of tequila. We wouldn't know. You could
That's
hold
true.
something
No
up.
one knows. You
Yeah,
make it exciting.
just don't use Dr. Pepper. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Yeah, I bartended in my 20s, and I have to say, if someone asked for that drink, I don't know, I might send them out. I don't think I can mix those ingredients.
Get Uber here. I need something. Anyway, hey Joshua,
Whoa.
Oh,
no.
what?
All right, Maz, we lost it for a second.
Oh wow, he just
What?
moved.
What'd you push?
I know you totally did just move.
Or
That's
or
so
that?
cool. You
what?
like switch spots, pulled it fast.
I didn't
that
do
was-
it.
That was my bad. Start that over. Again.
Oh, really?
That was my bad.
All right, Maz.
I'll admit.
Can I? May I?
3, 2.
All right. Hey, Joshua Morgerman is an American businessman, storm chaser, and the star of the 2019 Hurricane Man series on the Science Channel. Now, he's best known for his multitude of tropical cyclone chases. His storm chasing career began in 1991, flourished beginning in 2005 with Hurricane Wilma in Florida. With no real formal education in meteorology, all his experience comes from the chases. So Morgerman has penetrated the inner cores of 49 hurricanes and typhoons, including Super Typhoon Haiyan and 2013 Hurricane Dorian in 2019. You're crazy, man. I'm just telling you right now. Of those, what were the two biggest ones? Were they Haiyan and Dorian for you, or what was the big ones for you?
uh-oh.
We lost Josh.
That was not me.
Yeah, I was afraid it was my
MJ,
computer
what
for a
did you
second.
do?
That was not me.
Oh, he'll be
Wow,
he'll be
we were
clicking back on.
so close.
That
Oh,
was,
that was. Yeah. I don't know what happened.
That was an amazing intro, Mass.
thank,
It was.
thank God we can edit.
Did a good
But
job.
but it's in a good spot. That'll be an easy edit once he
You guys,
comes
this
back.
is real live TV.
Those
Yeah.
watching live, this is how it works.
I
Yeah.
thought I did something.
Here he is. I had him
He's
back
You have
in.
to embrace it.
There we got him.
There he is.
Oh, yay!
What
I just
happened?
want to move
Offended.
everybody around on the screen.
And I heard a question. I started talking and it just went out. It was very like anticlimactic. I felt like it was like a missed sneeze. So,
All right. So here's what we'll do. So Maz asked you about those two particular tropical storms. Maybe which were you asking? Were those the two biggest ones?
Yeah.
Or
I heard that.
okay. So I'm going to count you in 3, 2.
Yeah, actually.
He cut out on cue. I'm like, where did he go?
Okay.
We're
We're ready.
happening.
That's crazy.
Okay.
ready.
You guys,
Here we
this is
go.
the best show ever.
3, 2.
So yeah, you correctly guessed that my top 2 chases were Dorian and Hyann. And it's interesting. I just did like a decade countdown of my top 10 chases, and I actually really wrestled with whether the top one was going to be Hyann or Dorian. And Dorian won out because it was sustained winds of 185 miles an hour, and I went right through the core into the eye, and that was kind of a religious experience. So that one won. With Hyann, I was in the eye wall, but I didn't get into the eye. So in terms of like just like the ultimate chase, Dorian.
Wow.
I caught a video of you being interviewed by, I think it was CBS, and you were talking about how the house that you were in was like being destroyed, and you're like, we got to get out of here. And then the eye was there, and you're like, did you know where you were going to go? Because you guys came outside and you're like, this is great. We need to find shelter. How much time do we have? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. By that time, we had no radar or anything. So we didn't know if we were just skimming the eye or going through the middle. We didn't know how much time we had. The building we're in was largely it was too smashed up to stay there. So it was a scary thing, though, because, the wind in this thing was crazy. Like, it was unlike any hurricane I've been in. When we came outside during the eye, cars weren't just thrown around, they were mutilated. They'd been like ripped open, twisted, torn. I mean, like crazy shit. Like, I was just like, whoa. And when you see that, it runs like a chill down your back. And I was like, what are we going to do? Only a few of our cars were working. I was with a group of 11 people, just people I met at the shelter. My car was one of the 3 that was working. And we had to decide, okay, are we going to risk it, get in the cars, get on the road, and try to find somewhere else to be when we don't know what's going to happen? My biggest fear was we're going to get stuck on the road when the backside hit, and we would definitely have died in those winds. But we actually did make it to a big government building that had withstood the winds. So we got through it. And I'll tell you, thank God for the eye. The eye saved lives because it allowed hundreds of people in that area who were in smashed and destroyed buildings to relocate.
How long was
God.
it?
The eye lasted, it was about, actually, we had quite a bit of time. It was about an hour and a half. It lasted a while.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was
we went right
huge
through.
eye.
Yeah.
It was a good size eye. It wasn't a pinhole, and also it was moving so slowly.
That's
So
right.
we were
I remember
in the
that.
eye wall for a long time. The maximum winds lasted a long time. I mean, the building just took this pounding. And then the eye was just kind of sitting over us almost. And we went through almost the middle of it. So it was a pretty good, just like bullseye hit.
Did you know where you were heading? Because I would be like, I would be panicking. Like, do I take the chance and go, or do I try to stay safe?
That was the big dilemma in my mind. I literally couldn't decide, and finally, I just had to like make a decision. I was with 11 other people, and we just thought, you know what? This building is so smashed up, we're not going to make it, through the other half. And it was a concrete building, but it had gotten so smashed up, so we felt like we kind of had to move. But yeah, I was like, if we get caught out on that road in these winds, we're dead.
Well, you had to be safe because wasn't like on your bucket list Colorado Bulldog before?
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank God I made it to see another day and possibly try that drink one day.
So how long were you there for before you were able to leave?
A few days, and it was, and that was actually in some ways, kind of scarier than the hurricane because, the place I was in Marsh Harbor, which is basically like, I don't want to call it a city, it's a town. It's like about 6,000 people. It's the capital town of Great Abaco Island, and it was just destroyed. I mean, large areas of the town were just flattened, and the parts that weren't flattened were really badly damaged. And there was pretty much an altogether like a breakdown of just kind of civil order, I'd call it. And it was there were a rough couple of days. I was living in my car, which had almost no damage. That was the weird thing about this hurricane. My car was just almost untouched. The one next to it blew away. The other one next to it was mutilated. It was almost like tornado damage. There was like mesovortex action or something where the damage was very weird and random. But anyway, my car survived, and I just lived in it for a few days. And I just I remember like getting a little like freaked out, like, oh my God, like what's going to happen? How long am I going to be here? And I just kind of took a deep breath and just, I just said to myself, hey, you want it to be that big shot. I'm going to fly to some random island for a Cat 5. This is what happens. This comes with the package. So just like deal with it. And actually that kind of talking to, it's how my dad would have talked to me, when I was a teenager, and I just kind of like, that sort of calmed me down. And I just kind of accepted it. And I, while I was there, tried to be helpful. Since I had a functioning car, I was able to help people. I brought some people to their wrecked home to get their stuff. I brought other people to the medical clinic. Just tried to sort of be useful until I was able to get out of there. I had food, I had supplies, I had water, and I just, lived on very strict rations. When I got back to civilization, man, I'll tell you, I hadn't had real food in days. And I was.
Did you go to a buffet?
I was at the hotel. I ordered 2 dinners, and it was just like awesome. Like it was on another island in the Bahamas, and it was like some kind of like Bahamian dishes, and they were like just fried and greasy. And I just, oh my God, it was good I ate alone because I was just like no manners. I mean, after any hurricane, like I could eat, but after just living on peanut butter and granola for a few days, I was hungry.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
I want to know what kind of car you had that lasted. It would make a good car commercial.
Oh,
it was just some. It wasn't the car. It was just where the mesovortices hit. It was just some generic kind of like Japanese, car, like a just a small car. It just got lucky. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Josh, when you go chasing and like you're packing everything up, what are the top 3 things that you don't travel without? Whether it's like gear, some type of clothing. I just want to know.
Yeah, that's a great question, because I have a main piece of luggage and then the carry-on, and the carry-on is what I call the nerve center, and that has the stuff that like I absolutely must have. So in that, my passport, of course, most of the chasing I do is international. The U.S. accounts for only a small part of my chasing. I chase all over the world. So the passport must have. I cannot show up in Australia or the Philippines without my passport, because otherwise it's chase over. So there's that, obviously. Passport's key. Then I would say my Kestrels, my Kestrel 4500s. I have 4 of them. And the reason I use those, in case you're not familiar, it's a little device that collects like air pressure, temperature, humidity, stuff like that. They're very accurate devices. They're very portable. I carry multiple ones so that I can plant them in different places where the hurricane's going to come ashore, so I can get a cool sort of pressure profile of the hurricane. Or as was the case with Dorian, in an historic storm where I know I'm going to get crazy data, I want to have multiple devices so there's some redundancy. So if I get crazy readings, I have other devices to say, okay, yeah, that the crazy reading was not a malfunction. Multiple devices are showing it.
Was legit,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, like in Dorian, I measured 913 millibars in the eye. I wanted some verification of crazy air pressure data like that. I don't want to nerd out too much. I know you told me it's not like too nerdy.
Oh, that's good. That's good shit.
So.
You got to do it.
Okay. All right. I can't help it. There's this side of me, like I'm still a hardcore nerd, man. And it's like, I got to talk about that stuff. I was making the TV show. They constantly had to like chain me up and hold me back from like nerding out hardcore on camera. So I said 2 things. I said the passport and the Kestrels, and then obviously some kind of like camera device. Now lately, interestingly, I've been doing a lot of my shooting on my Samsung, on my phone. The reason being that it's very water resistant. Man, that thing just like I've been in crazy conditions, and that thing keeps filming where some of my nicer equipment just dies. So yeah, I would say passport, Kestrel, my Samsung phone, maybe a GoPro too if I could have a 4th.
Which Samsung?
It's the S8 Galaxy. I'm actually about to get my new one. So whatever it's up to now.
So I have a totally random question. Since you travel all over the world, how many languages do you speak?
Well, very sadly, I'd say 1.5. I'm like, I kind of like I can get by in Spanish.
English and a little Latin. Is that
I could get by like in Spanish. My Spanish is like it's not great, but it's like I could go into a hotel and ask for rooms and stuff like that. it's hard though. I do travel internationally now. In the Philippines, English is actually Philippines is very linguistically complex. There's all these islands. Every 3 islands has its own language, but English is one of the few languages that the whole country speaks. So in the Philippines, you can get by okay. In Japan, outside of Tokyo, no one speaks any English. And typhoons strike in the outer islands, basically like typhoons strike in the kind of like Japan's version of like Texas and Louisiana. Like there's just like, and I don't mean like the big cities. I mean like the small coastal areas. So that's always really challenging. Japan is always like, that's really hard. You just, I don't know any Japanese, unfortunately. So
with 200 mile an hour winds, you got to know something like, hey, where's the bathroom? Because that's what I'd be feeling. Like, I got to go now.
Well, I've become a very good mime artist. I've learned how to.
Don't mind that. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. So yeah. But it's funny. I lived in my 30s. I was living in Eastern Europe for years in Prague. I was just business stuff. I had a few years where I was sort of not being chaser dude. I was just being like business dude, and I was living in Prague, and I had a lot of clients in Eastern Europe. So I had a Russian tutor, I had a Czech tutor, and I was actually really learning those languages. And now I forgot it all because I haven't been there in a while. But yeah, I was actually really studying Russian and reading paragraphs.
Yeah, right in your bio, you went to Harvard.
Yeah, I did.
not just visited,
totally,
right?
Yeah, totally a little different.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, and I didn't study meteorology. Everyone always asks me. Actually, Harvard doesn't offer that as a major. But even if they did, I had those kinds of parents who kind of decided everything, and they decided where I went to school, and they didn't pick my major, but they were like, my dad was like, yeah, you're not going to do meteorology. You're going to do liberal arts. So he decided. And I was the kind of kid that did what my parents said.
Who's paying for it?
Yeah, it's true.
No, here's the deal, though. Here's the deal. My dad was actually right, because he's like, you're more of an artist type. He's like, you're not a scientist. And actually he's right. And and I always say this, I am a hardcore chaser, and I'm a good chaser. I'm like a great hunting dog, and I'm good at collecting field data that scientists use, but I'm not a scientist. I'm not a meteorologist.
You're not using
collecting field data. Yeah.
Creativity.
And my sort of role in the weather community, honestly, is exactly what I want it to be. Because if I was a scientist, I'd be working at the National Hurricane Center, watching landfalls from an office building and having like chaser dude envy. So I'd be probably really angry and resentful. So I think my dad, in a weird way, was right. So
I think that's the best side, because I always joke, because I do a lot of weather graphics and I'm a meteorologist. So you get to use both sides of your brain. You get to use the sciencey side and the creative side, and it kind of balances things out.
Exactly. And I actually feel that way about my role in the weather community, because I actually do a little bit of science. If you look at, I actually do these sort of very, I joke and say I'm just this hunting dog and I'm dumb. All I know how to do is like hunt down an eye. It's basically true. But when I'm in a significant hurricane like Dorian, or one where I've collected meaningful data, I create a technical report, which they're on my site, icyclone.com. Go to the chases section, and any hurricane that I've done a significant data collection, and I do a report, and the report will have some analysis regarding the pressure gradients and that I found. Am I still here?
Yeah.
Should I do that again? Okay. And the report will have, a discussion of pressure gradients and other really kind of interesting things that I found. So I dip a toe into the science. I have co-authored a couple of peer-reviewed papers. One of them being the big paper on Hurricane Patricia. I was invited with a bunch of PhDs to write this section about the landfall, because I was there where it came ashore. Just for your viewers or listeners who don't know, Patricia was the strongest tropical cyclone ever observed on Earth. It weakened a little bit before it hit Mexico, but I was there right where it came ashore. I collected some very interesting data, and I was invited to co-author a paper on it, which was really cool. I also did another paper on the great Mexico hurricane in 1959, which flattened Manzanillo. Some friends and I did a reanalysis of it, and the Hurricane Center accepted our findings that actually it wasn't a Category 5 like it had historically been believed. So I dip a toe into the science world.
I love that.
Yeah. All right.
So we've got Josh. We've got a question from one of our from our chat room here, SVL Media. I don't know, MJ, if you can pull that up. But they were asking you about how do you do foreign data? Like how do you do cell phone data? How do you get your cell phone usage when you're overseas? Because you said you do a lot of chasing out of the States.
Well, that's gotten easier and easier over the years. So, like 10 years ago, you'd pay through the nose. It was a tough deal. Now, more and more data is getting cheaper. And, like for example, the carrier that I'm with has a deal with most other carriers around the world. So that you pay a little extra for that data. But that's actually getting easier and easier, and the solutions are becoming more and more seamless. Sometimes for some countries that aren't on the kind of global network plans, I have to pay like $100 extra just to have basically unlimited data for the week or something like that. Obviously, data is key. I'm like a data junkie. I have multiple devices. Data is everything. But yeah, that's one of the things that's just gotten so much easier in the last few years even.
Did you ever forget and get like $1,000 roaming charge?
Yes.
You're like, darn it.
I've gotten some like category 5 data bills. Yeah.
Excuse me, but I was not in that country. Someone used my phone.
Yeah.
No, I've had some blistering data charges, and I've learned my lesson. I'm pretty savvy about it now. The problem is, the chasing I'm doing, I'm jumping on a plane to like Taiwan in the middle of the night, and it's connecting in Manila and blah blah blah, and then I get off the plane, I gotta like get in the car and just like drive for like hours and hours. No time to stop, no time to think. And as organized as I am, sometimes you might forget that call to the mobile provider to be like, hey, I need to buy that roaming plan.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of
go ahead. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah. Speaking of forgetting things, T-Bone B says, wonder if your luggage ever gets lost.
Well, that's a great question. And the way I travel, it doesn't matter because I can't risk a whole chase getting ruined because a piece of luggage got lost. So the way I do it is, first of all, I try to do nonstop flights. In the case that I can't, if I check anything, and I don't always check stuff, I travel really light. I just I don't bring a lot. But if I check something, it's just things that I don't care about, stuff that I can replace.
We don't need the underwear. We don't need anything close.
It's just like
You actually probably need that more than anything with those with where he goes.
Oh, no, like anywhere you can get like, just like shorts and tank tops, stuff like that. So basically all that stuff goes in there. But anything I really need stays with me at all times. It's kind of like I feel like some CIA special ops agent with like a nuclear briefcase. Like it's just like I go to the bathroom.
It's handcuffed to you.
Basically. I mean, I get crazy about it. In certain countries that you don't have to worry about that. Like in Japan and Taiwan, people don't steal stuff. Like you just like you could leave like a device sitting on a counter in like a convenience store and come back like 2 hours later. It's just sitting there. No one took it. It's just yeah. There's certain countries. It's so funny the cultural differences, but that's one of the things I like about traveling in Japan and Taiwan is like
don't they cut off your hand though?
What's that?
Don't they cut off your hand if you steal?
No, those countries are actually they're quite the opposite.
So, Josh, what fascinates you more about tropical cyclones over like tornadoes or any kind of other big weather phenomena?
It's such a good question because first of all, I'm going to just say it, and I'll take all the hate anyone wants to dish out. Is I'm a hurricane snob. I don't even think about other kinds of weather, so get over it. People
this is your safe space. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, you can.
Like some people will send me, like a picture of a nor'easter. Like it's like yeah, save the granny porn. Not interested.
That's amazing, granny porn.
Save the granny porn. That's our title.
No, sorry. I shouldn't talk that way. Sorry, it was like a.
No, you
can talk any way you want. I love it.
Wait, I don't know what that is.
Granny weather porn?
Yeah, what is that?
It's like a picture of a hollowed out like low that doesn't even have like a core. That's what it is. So so there's something about so I tried to figure out why am I so obsessed with hurricanes and hurricanes only. And I think part of it is that I grew up on Long Island, and we had, that was what we got, when I was growing up. And when I was growing up, we had a couple of those. So I think I was used to that. There's something about the approach and the buildup and the way it climaxes right when you're near the center. And then the way right when you're at the center, it just stops. And the eye is such a like religious experience for me, and it's the only phenomenon that has that the most violent part circles an area that is so serene. I think that's so trippy. And I just dig that, and when you look at hurricanes from above, like radar shots or satellite shots, it's like beautiful. It looks like a pattern, and I think that's really cool.
They have psychologists to help you with that, Josh.
Do you know how many eyes you've been in? Have you counted them?
Yeah, actually, it's on my Wikipedia entry. I noticed someone's.
I think it was in his
track of it.
intro.
It's no, it was
in the eye.
number
Like how many
four,
times he's been in the eye?
which is so I've been
49.
that's eye walls, and so I've been in 49 hurricane strength eye walls.
Okay.
In terms of eyes, I had to count, but it's over 30.
Okay.
And people ask me, there's one thing about me. I'm a little weird. I'm very much of a reclusive introvert, and I chase alone, or at most I chase with one other person. I don't do groups, and people ask me why. And it's not that I'm unfriendly, but I was thinking about this relating to my thoughts about hurricanes. Think about it. You're at a house of worship, like a beautiful church. You want, you're admiring the height of the ceiling and the light coming in, the stained glass. So it's like you want quiet. You don't want people yapping and reacting to it. And for me, like going through an eye wall into like a category 5 eye wall with like a stadium effect, like that's like, for me, that's church. And it's like, I don't want people reacting to that. I don't want to hear other people or other chasers, let's say. I mean, other human beings is something else, just chasers. I just want to kind of zen out about it. And I realize that it's almost like if I'm around other chasers, it almost can almost interfere with my connection with the storm a little.
Yeah, it ruins it. It's eerily peaceful for you. You actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's
All right,
awesome.
hey, storm freaks and weather geeks, with all the travel people are doing over the holidays, and now with breaks coming up, it'd be nice to be able to keep an eye on your home and potential property damage while you're away. Would you agree?
Yes.
Kind of know what's happening at home. Yeah. So with an Accurite weather station connected to My Accurite on your computer or mobile app, you can do just that. This is what's cool about this. So you can keep an eye on damaging winds. Maybe it's heavy rains with potential basement flooding or yard flooding you might have, even freezing temperatures, because you guys know that's when the pipes break. I've had issues in my basement during heavy rains with water leaking in and things like that. So, if I had an Accurite weather station, I'd be able to track the rainfall amounts that would cause that kind of leakage. So while I'm away from leakage, I don't know why I'm talking leakage, but while I'm out of the house, yes, it is. So while I'm out of the house, this is what's great is when I see the rainfall amounts equal to that, I know I might be having some flooding issues in my basement, and that's when I can call my neighbors or whatever else. So My Accurite, it works with the line of Accurite weather stations. I know a number of our co-hosts have these, and you can even run it through your Amazon Alexa or Google Home device if you've got one of those as well. So go to Accurite.com, and what's great is you can use the promo code PODCAST, PODCAST. Use podcast at checkout. You're going to get a 10% discount on your entire order that you have in your cart on all your Accurite products. So again, go to Accurite, ACURITE, Accurite.com for all those details. Hey, we're gonna take a break because I don't know about you. I got to refill my drink. It's getting low, and we're gonna be right back so you can play along with Josh on his wonderful lightning round. You won't believe what we got.
Woo!
All right, good. Everybody good?
Yeah.
Josh, you going strong, sir?
Yeah. So those answers weren't too nerdy. I was trying not to get too science.
Okay. Just be you.
Perfect. It was so perfect.
Gosh, like we said, you could say and do whatever you want.
Typically, Josh, what I tell people is if you do get into, like, you really get sciencey, that's the word I use. It's not a word, but if you get into sciencey stuff, just explain it. So that, people listening that maybe don't know what the hell that is, you just explain, hey, this is why, low 900 something millibars is going to be, this is why it's a big deal.
Or grandma porn.
And then
or grandma porn. Mads, that's what you did.
I don't know what that is.
He's so confused. He's still got that look on his face.
You know what I meant.
Yeah, we know.
I know.
Yeah. So we always have, I don't know if you've noticed this, Josh, but every time we have a show, on the title of the podcast, we have the guest name, and then we name the podcast. And we usually come up with something obscure that was said, something like grandma porn. Yeah. So it sounds like that's the leading
number
possibility.
one choice.
Yeah.
Granny.
What was it?
Yeah.
Was it
Guest Josh Morgerman granny porn.
I love it.
Grandma weather porn.
It's gonna get all the clicks, baby. I'm telling you right now, it's getting all the clicks. You're a marketing guy, you know that.
I've used it as a hashtag and like to diss other kinds of weather, and I've taken heat, because I am such a snob. I can't help. I'm very committed to hurricanes, and I don't sleep around.
I love it.
All right, so
It's
let you know who's
You're a
on here. We
one-weather
got
man.
Yeah, we got a lot
Lily
of people.
Anderson. Lily Anderson, is that right?
It looks like it.
Yeah, Parker Owens is back on. Of course, SVL Media we just mentioned. I'm not. I can't remember who that was from SVL Media that uses that, but Ashley Gagir is on. T-Bone B. We got a question from T-Bone.
We got a good audience.
Timothy
we do.
Belton.
Yeah, we do.
Pawnee Storm Chasers.
That might be
So we
Lele.
got,
Might be Lele.
Parker's
Lele?
on.
That's
I like
a good
Lele.
name. I like
And
it.
Lele Anderson. It's cool. That's all that matters.
Richard Langer's on.
Cool.
Timothy
And I
Belton.
believe that Daniel
McCune.
Shaw might have been listening too from
Oh, was he on for a second?
with the tag. Yeah, he was at one point.
Jeez.
Severe Weather in News Australia.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The one who
being
told us
that's
about
cool.
the
out of
big,
his
huge spider.
house. Yeah, that's right.
No
the
kidding.
Spider.
And sorry if we missed
Remember
it.
this?
You got a lot of
When I think of him, I only think of that spider comment. He said the spider was so big,
Yeah.
he hit it with a mop, and its legs were outside the mop.
Yeah.
He said
That's a-
everything in Australia tries to eat you.
That's
So-
creepy.
That's right.
Was that the Australian one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
that is.
Remember?
Yeah. That is. Is that
Remember the
Huntsman?
spider thing?
Is that the
All right.
Matt
Huntsman?
McCune.
Oh,
Matt
that's-
McCune is that.
All right, let's keep moving.
Oh,
We'll keep moving. Oh, Matt's on. Cool.
Yes.
Nice
And he has
to-
a
nice
good
to have you
title
on,
too.
Matt.
Yeah.
Hurricane Eye Walls Are My Church.
All right, so here we go. We're going to come back with a few more questions, and then Josh, we're going to jump to your lightning round. I'll let you know in advance. Your questions have something to do with fitness equipment. So it's going to be based on fitness equipment.
Okay.
I'll explain more when we get there. And
Channel
of
your
course,
Tony Little.
Tony Little.
Hey, the
wow.
gazelle. The gazelle. You remember the gazelle?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a lawsuit waiting to happen with all the sexual innuendos
No kidding.
he was making.
How did you get two people on there at the same time? What?
Exactly.
Oh, jeez.
It's funny. I'll
It's
tell you
greedy
this.
porn.
It's funny
Yeah.
because I saw all that Tony Little crap while I was looking up like questions.
Yeah.
So to give you a little idea, but that I'm not using the gazelle, but that was one of them that I was.
Gotcha.
Oh,
So
Oh, man.
anyway, all right. So we're gonna come back. I'm gonna jump into the first question.
Okay.
So we'll keep going through a few questions. Josh, are you doing okay time wise? You all right?
Oh yeah, sure.
Cool. Okay. So we'll do a few more questions, and then at some point, you'll hear the infamous thunder, and that's the sound that it's time for lightning round. So
I'm weirdly dreading it. Like
that'll be cute. Oh, you're gonna love it.
We are
You're gonna love it.
too.
You're in
And
a safe
the-
place, Josh.
say
I'm
we
gonna
are
let
all
everybody else help you out with
okay,
the-
good.
You'll like it. I'll tell you this. It's similar. It's a similar game that we played with Ginger Z.
But
So
she's
it's-
smart.
No,
Well,
you're brilliant.
course,
You're good.
but-
You got this.
It's good for everything. All right, so here we go. We're coming back. 3, 2. All right, so hey, welcome back. We are with the Hurricane Man himself. We got Josh Morgerman, Hurricane Chaser, on tonight. We're having a great time with Josh. Josh, I want to know this because I haven't had time to get into some of the questions I had. So you talked about how most of your chasing now is international. I'm a little curious if that's recently now you've gotten more international, but the question's really based upon how do you decide if I'm going to chase a particular storm in the States, which is probably easier for you to do, and how am I going to decide what goes into this decision-making process if I'm going to fly and wing this sucker and chase this international storm?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the $1 million question, and the thing that I feel like I'm good at is picking the winners. You know, pulling the trigger for the right ones. Because I'll tell you, it is painful, and it's happened to me only a couple times that I flew 7,000 miles across the ocean, and then took a connecting flight to some Japanese island to miss the eye wall by a few miles, or to be there for like a sheared tropical storm. So it's pretty painful. So I've developed pretty good instincts about judging what's going to be a good, solid, clean, intense landfall and what's worth going after. I love chasing in the States because it's easier. I love chasing in Texas because it's so close. You know, I'll chase anything heading to Texas because I love chasing in Texas and it's close to California. So, you know, that's the stakes are lower when I chase in the States. Now, my desire to chase internationally, my desire to chase domestically came to a conflict during Hurricane Florence. So I was in North Carolina chasing Hurricane Florence, And it was while we were filming Hurricane Man, and there was a Category 5 super typhoon heading for the Philippines, and I was really tortured about it, and I couldn't decide what to do. And I was like, screw it. I just bailed on Florence, left her on the altar, flew across. I said, bye. I found something sexier, and flew across the ocean to Super Typhoon Manhoot. And, I think like the TV executives in London weren't too happy about my decision. They were like, wait, you're filming in the Carolinas. But it actually made a great double episode of Hurricane Man where, me and one of the directors just tore off and broke off and just went to the Philippines and hunted down this Category 5 in the jungles, up there. No, it was really a big adventure, and it ended up being worthwhile. But that was an example of where the kind of the foreign allure. Yeah.
Okay.
The exotic temptress.
Because how many people do you take when you who's part of your crew? How many people in your crew do you have?
Well, so I'm a lone wolf. I like to chase alone or at most with one other person. Now, I had to adjust my attitude about that when we were filming Hurricane Man. Then all of a sudden I had a whole crew. I had 3 directors, telling me what to do all the time. I had, crew assistants, like translators, fixers. So I just sat myself down and I said, all right, you gotta just take a deep breath and deal with this. You signed up for it. So that was that year. And I got used to it. And I got used to the camaraderie of chasing, with a crew. But it was hard because I didn't have the freedom, and I couldn't connect with the storms as much as I like to because I had to constantly be on camera talking about my feelings and what we're doing and where we're going.
I'm going to tell you this, guys. So I got an email from Josh about factoids about him that I could use to maybe come up with questions for our lightning round. But I will say one of his factoids, I'm going to read this. Yep. You should be. It says, I'm a reclusive introvert and I prefer being alone or at most with one other dude. I don't do groups. So just in case you were curious, let's clarify that. That's only what it's chasing.
We know what you mean.
We're still keeping everything else open. Mm-hmm. So you were talking about Hurricane Man. So where did that come from? Where did this series come from? How'd that come about?
Well, for years I've been appearing on like the Weather Channel and Weather Nation doing live coverage, and then appearing in these clip shows, like top 10 nastiest hurricanes, and I'll appear on segments talking about some of my past adventures. And the British love those, and they produce a lot of them. So I had this for a couple of years. I've been appearing on a lot of these British clip shows. And a producer of one of them just approached me and said, "Hey, we should make a series about you." And he came up with this concept for a show where they follow me around the world as I hunt down storms. And there's 3 plot lines. So one director follows me as I'm hunting down the eye to collect data. Another crew embeds with the local sort of experience of just normal people in the storm. And then a third embeds with emergency services as they're like rescue people and stuff. So a typical episode interweaves these 3 plots to give you this full look at what happens when a hurricane or a typhoon hits somewhere. So that was the concept for Hurricane Man. It was a great concept. And the producer sold it into UK TV and BBC, and they combined to fund it, and it became an international TV show.
Cool.
That's so epic.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. So when you were out, go ahead.
Go ahead.
When you're out now traveling around, do people recognize you and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, we know who he is," and they try to follow you wherever you go?
They throw panties at you?
Isn't that Engelbert Humperdinck?
I don't know.
No, that's Tom Jones. That's Tom Jones.
It's not unusual.
That's right. So was there a question there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No. Do people?
No, there was, and
follow you?
It depends where. There's one place where I am very recognized, which is Tacloban City in the Philippines. So this is a city of 200,000 people that had a direct hit by a Category 5 Super Typhoon Haiyan. Thousands died. I was there at the height of the storm. I jumped in the water to rescue some people. Video of that, of me pulling people out of the water, went viral. And so then the whole world saw it. It was, it was really weird. All of a sudden, I was just on TV everywhere, and I'd never been on TV before that. That was sort of what started my kind of life in TV. But interestingly, when I go back to Tacloban, and I've gone back a couple of times, one, to do research, and 2, just to reconnect with other people I rode out the storm with. People there recognize me. Absolutely. You know, I mean, I stand out a little bit, you know, I'm kind of this like big, tall white guy. I mean, I just like definitely stand out, but people, yeah, they absolutely recognize me there. It's really interesting. I feel a real connection to that city. Just, you know, what I saw there, what I don't know, just witnessing it. I mean, that was unlike anything I've seen any time in my career.
How many of the fatalities were from the storm surge?
That's a great question. I would say probably 90 to 95%. It was mostly that. I mean, the winds were crazy, but it was the storm surge. It was a weird typhoon. It was extremely intense. It was actually quite small, and it was moving really fast, like over 20 knots. I mean, this thing was trucking. And it's interesting, as Americans, we think of storm surge as this really big factor because of our coastline, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, they've all got these continental shelves with gentle slopes that augment these surges, and you get these crazy surges that go 20 miles inland. Parts of East Asia don't have that. Like the Japanese islands, I'll ride at the storm like right on the water. Like they don't get storms. Or the towns are so hilly that you can walk 50 feet and be plenty high. So this area of the Philippines is an exception. It's more like the US where it's really just very flat. And this town was at the top of a bay. And basically what happened was when the center of the cyclone passed south of us, the wind shifted southeast and basically forced all this water into this tiny, tiny little bay. And it just overflowed into the city, basically like a tsunami. And I saw it come in. It came in so fast, people just didn't have time to get out of the way. So it was such a high surge, but two, it moved so fast. And I would say easily well over 90% of the fatalities were that.
Were they not? I mean, I think I saw something you had said that they didn't really understand what storm surge was, but they know what tsunami is.
Correct. And it's a great point you bring up. So after it, what people said was they're like, God, if they just told us a tsunami was coming, we would have gotten out of the way. Now, of course, my weather dude side is like, well, they don't understand. It wasn't a tsunami. It wasn't caused by a geological event. But to just the person on the ground, it was a tsunami. To people who don't care about the technical distinctions of what caused it, it was a tsunami. It was a wall of water that just came in and swept the city clean. And what I was wondering, I was thinking to myself, was this an occasion where it would have been better to have used technically incorrect terminology because it would have saved lives? If they just said a tsunami's coming, everyone would have gotten the fuck away from the water and the deaths would have been minimized. It's an interesting question. No, I will say this. Since then, I think that they've done a lot. That was in 2013. Since then, they've done a lot of work in educating, and I think that people are now starting to understand what the word storm surge is. Now, one final thing I'll say about the Philippines, it's a challenge because, like I said, it's linguistically very complex. Literally every three islands has its own language. So it's hard that creates another whole barrier in terms of educating about what storm surge means.
Wow. That's so crazy.
That had to be a crazy trip in general, because that was the first time I really saw video coming in that was unedited.
Yeah.
And it was disturbing. Like to see so many, and I don't want you to be such a downer here, but so many dead people, dead bodies there. And it has to really freak you out a little bit.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the first mega disaster that I was in, actually. And to this day, the only thing that's come near it was Dorian. And yeah, just seeing dead bodies in the streets, I was totally rattled. And, I realized to survive, I needed to basically shut my emotions off. I remember just saying to myself, all right, don't react, don't feel anything. I literally turned myself into a robot. I shut my emotions off. And what was interesting is when I got back to California days later and I was kind of in a safe space, that's when I had emotions. I was crying and stuff. And I was watching it on TV and crying more then than when I was there. Cause I think as a defense mechanism, like I said, I just simply shut down and became a robot that was just focused on how do I cover this event and how do I get out of here,
Survive. Hey, last question, Josh. So when you're, especially again, when you're overseas, what tools are you using to track, as far as radar options or weather what tools are you using to track where this sucker's going, where I need to go next? What are you using? Yeah.
Yeah, it's I keep it really simple. So my my main thing is I have an iPad, and I use radar scope if it's in the continental US or an area that has American radar, and then I try to use local radars. Now, some countries have radar, some don't. Radar is obviously how I'm very into precision chasing. Like, I've got to get in the eye wall and the eye, and if I don't at least get in the eye wall, it's a failure of a chase. And an eye wall is often a very small feature. People think hurricanes are so big. Oh, it's such a big target. If you're chasing in a real way and you're really trying to like hunt down the sweet spot of the storm, it's actually a pretty small target. So I try to get radar. Some countries don't have radar. For example, a lot of Mexico, the radars are down. So oftentimes when I'm hunting in Mexico, I got to do, and let's say it's at night, all you have are low res infrared images, and that makes it really, really hard. So you just use the tools that are available, and you do the best you can. But yeah, without radar, it's really hard. But interestingly, some of my most successful chases were, just with infrared imagery, and that's just for people who don't know, satellite images don't show all the structural details. They don't show the eye wall. And this, like the things you're hunting, they don't show them in as great detail as radar. So if you have infrared images, you have to kind of guess or extrapolate, and it requires a lot more skill.
Hey, take a radar in your pocket next time.
It's got to be something that's in your top 5 now.
Doesn't Apple have one of those yet?
So hey, it's time for our lightning round. This is our game show of flashy questions that we always have with our guest. We always invite everybody to play along, and I want you to know tonight, Josh, you're apparently a fitness buff. Yes.
Yes.
Your health is important to you. God love you, and so we're gonna play a game tonight. I'm gonna call this game. We're gonna call it Spot the Scam. So spot the scam. So when it comes to fitness stuff, there's lots of scams that are out there. So here's what I'm going to do. This is related to fitness equipment, and I'm going to go through a bunch of pieces of equipment. Okay, and I'm going to give you 2 at a time. One of them is an actual piece of fitness equipment. It's probably not very good. The other one I totally made up. So in all honesty, they're both kind of scams, okay? But one of them is a real scam, and one of them I completely made up. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
I might actually have both. Just
you could. And I'll say this, so Maz, I'm going to let all you freaks, you can chime in and help Josh if you want to try and help him out. You're certainly welcome to do that. But Josh, I'm ultimately going to go to you to make a decision which one is the real scam. As opposed to which one's the false one. So you got to tell me what the real one is. Does that make sense?
Okay, the real one.
The real one. So you're telling me what's the one that's actually been out there. All right.
Okay.
So here's the first 2. First one is the Power Balance Bracelet. Improve your balance, strength, and flexibility through special hologram frequencies found in the bracelet. That's one of them. Here's the second one, the Wave Tech Belt. This discrete battery-powered belt emits UV waves to help restore your body's natural energy and metabolism to increase the speed of weight loss. So one of them, either the Power Balance Bracelet or the Wave Tech Belt, is real.
I have a guess.
Okay,
I have a guess. But...
They both. Do you want me to?
Yes.
Sure. What do you think? What do you think's the real one?
They both sound. Both are crap, obviously. I know, but I would say that the belt is the one that actually existed. The bracelet just sounds too crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna say the Wave Tech belt UV waves.
Thing. Yeah.
That's correct. I made that one up. The real one is the Power Balance Bracelet.
That's real.
Uses some special hologram frequencies or something stupid.
What's a hologram
that was what threw me up because that sounded ridiculous.
But it's real.
Like a fake, like a projected.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Leia at the beginning of Star Wars.
Search Power Balance Bracelet. All right, here's the next 2. You've got the Cop Coat. The Cop Coat. The added weight of this Kevlar and copper-lined everyday jacket will improve your leg, arm, and core strength while reducing body weight during your day. So the Cop Coat. The second one is the Sauna Suit. This space-age jumpsuit will help you sweat off the pounds while working out, sleeping, or even watching TV.
A sauna
So-
suit sounds like the ones the guys wore in wrestling when they were trying to make weight.
I was just about to say it so sounds like wrestling.
So sauna suit or cop coat, what's the real scam?
Or what's the one that actually existed? Oh God!
What's the one that was really
I know,
made?
okay.
What was the one really made? The sauna suit or the cop coat? The
The
cop
sauna
coat
suit.
sounds like you'd say the sauna suit. That is
Yay,
correct.
good.
The cop coat sounds like would not only add weight and help your workout, but stop bullets.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Yeah.
kept-
That's
I
I was going
made
to say that was what tipped me off. I was like, no branding. No one would allow it to be branded that way because of the potential confusion. So
There you go, Mr.
Yeah,
Branding
all
Man.
right.
There you go. All right,
Phil, nice job on that one,
Next-
Phil.
next
Very
one.
clever.
Yeah.
next
Yeah,
one. Here we go. We've got the dumbbell utensils. By making each bite harder, these weighted utensils will help you manage your body weight. Or the other one is the can manager. This beer or soda can dispenser, it can be set to only allow a specified number of cans a day, allowing you to keep to your diet goals.
Oh.
So either the dumbbell utensils or the can manager is a real scam.
I just like the dumbbell utensils.
I know.
Oh my God, that is awesome! All right, I'm gonna guess that the can dispenser is the real one.
Okay, were you going to say something else there, or just
No,
that's
no,
it?
no.
Okay.
He's waiting
Okay.
for your.
My mouth is agape.
Oh!
God.
The real thing is the dumbbell utensils that are
Yeah.
weighted to make your bite harder to.
Oh my God.
Isn't
Oh, yeah.
that the
How heavy are they?
stupidest thing in the world?
Picking up a brick.
Phil
How
knows.
heavy are they?
Phil knows I have the 100-pound phone. It's very hard to pick up.
All right,
Oh my
all right. We got
God.
three more. Three more to
my.
go through. All right, the ab lounge. Work smarter and not harder while you lean back and crunch away on this abdominal workout chair. Or the 6-second masturgator.
Serious.
This green weighted pole will enhance back, bicep, and wrist muscles
Oh my God.
when shaken. 6 seconds a day yields results in 28 days or your money
Oh my
back.
God.
Okay,
What-
okay.
what's the real one?
I have to assume the first one because the second one sounds just nasty.
So the ab lounge, you would be
Oh,
correct.
thank God.
The 6-second masturgator does not
Oh
exist.
my God.
But have you guys seen those like weighted
Yeah,
dumbbells
that's what I
that you
was
like?
thinking.
Yeah, there's been some
You were
interesting
inspired. Okay.
videos on that, I'm sure. All right, next one. You've got the swim resistance fan belt. So these swim belts, they have 2 battery-powered propellers. When faced in the reverse direction, they provide additional resistance to enhance your workout in half the time. The other one are the toning shoes. Curved sole shoes will help you lose weight, tone hips, thighs, and butt, and improve posture while you walk or run. One of them is a real
I
scam.
don't
The other
know.
one is a
I
made-up.
think 2's the real one, but
I don't know. My magic shoes.
Yeah, I
So we
think
got
the real-
swim resistance, fan belt, or the toning shoes.
that thing you could just that's a lot of thing to be wearing in the
I
water.
kind of agree with I agree with Dina.
Yeah.
What do you think, Josh?
Now watch what
I
we're
think,
wrong.
I think the shoes to me sounds like that could be sold on some late night
The sh-
infomercial.
The shoes are
The
real,
shoes.
and they are.
Woo!
Thank you for giving me the confidence.
Skechers came out with some, and they've got a class action lawsuit against them for it. By
No
the way.
way.
Oh.
All right, here we go. The last one is always the best one. Josh, you're doing well. You're on a roll here. So we have got the Hawaii chair. Sit and get fit. Get your work done while this chair with rotating hula seat tones your core. Or the
That's
bun
true, I want
burner.
one.
The bun burner. Get the ass you've always wanted during your commute to work. This seat is designed to position your bottom in a way to flex and work it out while you sit. So there's the bun burner or the
That's funny.
Hawaii chair,
Oh
which
my
is
God.
the real actual item, yet still a scam. What do you think,
I think-
everybody?
I'll let other people.
What
I
do you
know.
guys
the
think?
first one's a scam, I think. I don't know. That's
I-
hard.
What's real?
You
Is
can't
the
think
Hawaii chair a real
Right.
product
I
or the
think the
bun
first
burner?
one's real.
Bun
for some
burner.
reason. I
Oh,
think
maybe.
Hawaii is real.
If
Really?
you're driving and your buns are moving, that's not good. That's not safe.
What do you think,
You have
Josh?
a heated seat.
It's not a public transit thing. It's like for the car. The second one.
It's apparently for the car. Yep.
Oh,
so you
okay.
commute to work. It's like a car
You can
seat.
plug it into the
You
the lighter.
plug it into your lighter.
Officer, my butt didn't stop.
I like it. I like it.
I think
audience
that's
think
hilarious.
bun burner.
It sounds unsafe, but that Hawaii thing sounds just so ridiculous. I'm gonna go with the. I think the seat, the second
The
thing.
bun
is
burner?
real. Yeah.
So the bun burner is a real scam.
Yeah.
That is incorrect.
Sorry,
The
Josh.
Hawaii chair is
Oh.
actually real. You sit down and it just scoots
That's
in a circle.
amazing.
And I
That's-
like
that-
the way you're doing it.
I love
It's
how
amazing.
MJ's like, I own one. MJ
Anyway,
owns one.
Josh,
I'll buy
great
one
job,
tomorrow.
man. You did excellent on picking out the real scams, and which I would expect. You're a marketing guy, right?
Wow.
On that, anyway. So let's do this, Josh. How can listeners find you on social media, and then where can they also find your Hurricane Man series?
Oh, okay. So if you want to enjoy Hurricane Man, you can get on Amazon Prime now. It aired on Science Channel. Now Amazon Prime is the best place to get it. And if you want to follow me on social media, iCyclone, the letter I in the word cyclone, on either Twitter or Facebook. On Instagram, it's iCyclone1 because some kid on the other side of the earth is using iCyclone.
Smart kid. Hey, you knew that was one to have. Has he tried to sell it to you yet?
No, he won't respond to me.
You've tried.
He's holding out.
He hasn't posted in 5 years.
Yeah, he probably.
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh, God.
Josh, if he hasn't posted in 5 years, I might be able to help you get that.
Oh.
Oh.
He'll
I'm
just
gonna
toss
take-
it.
I'm gonna take you up on that.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey, tell you what, guys, I want you to know this. I have found the last daily weather app you're ever going to need. And I swear to God on this, I have had all the daily weather apps, right? So the ones where I'm just looking to see, hey, what's the weather going to be like today? What's going on? Every single, for the most part, weather app I've always looked at, I'm having to scroll down and scroll through a bunch of other stuff, or I'm having to click on other things to find out. Like, I want to know what's happening hourly. It's always hard to find an hourly forecast of what's going on, especially extended out over multiple days. So the Atmosphere Weather app, this has 7 days of hourly weather temps, cloud cover, precipitation, and it's all rendered around a clock with your radar right in the center. This is beautiful. Everything's on one screen. It can even integrate your calendar to see what to wear to, for example, to your kid's soccer game, right? It'll show your calendar right on the hourly weather map. Atmosphere Weather app, it's on Apple and Android for the US, UK, and Canada. So all our UK and Canada listeners got an opportunity to do this as well. The free version will give you up to 3 days of weather forecasts, but get this, for only $3.99 a year. So $4 a year subscription gets you 7 days of hourly weather, no banner ads. It gets you that radar map in the middle and so much more. So I'm telling you guys, you got to see it to believe it. Go to atmosphereweather.com to get more information. So, hey, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take our final break, folks. We're going to be back with our infamous hashtag Weather Fools and, of course, some weather resources. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Josh, I like that
Awesome.
you clapped along with the audience.
I did too.
You guys are
Nice touch.
All right. So we're running a little bit late just because we had some initial technical difficulties and everything. But
Sorry about that.
Josh, no, that's fine. It's not all your fault. You're welcome to stay for this last segment, or you can take off. But
I'll stay.
regardless, okay, he's going to stay. Sweet. There's one favor I want to ask you. Can you do a quick plug, little soundbite for us, and just say, "Hey, I'm Joshua Morgerman, the Hurricane Man," or whatever title you want to give yourself, and just say, "And you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast."
Okay. Like, you're gonna cue me?
Okay, 3, 2.
This is Josh Morgerman, better known as Hurricane Man, and you're listening to Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Beautiful. All right, well done.
Nice.
First try.
Wasn't it last year you were just Hurricane Boy? What happened? You're a man.
Congratulations.
He bought that. He bought that.
The bun burner.
Was.
That'll change you.
I'm pissed I got those wrong.
I
Good
know.
creative writing there. Hey, fooled me. Fooled the branding and fitness guy.
Thank you very little. Well, I'll tell you what, it's not that hard to come up with something stupid, number one. And number two, it is very difficult to try and distinguish between two stupid things, which one is actually real.
Okay. You're very charitable.
Yeah. If I was saying, I don't even know what.
No, he did well. We had
James.
one. Didn't one guy only get one answer or no answers once?
Yeah.
Okay, so
We were
I'm
like,
a little better now. Okay.
Is your name Bob?
Yeah, we've had a couple.
Just say yes.
Yeah.
He's never
It's
coming
always
back.
it's been hilarious. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna come back and we have Weather Fools with Dina. Then we've got WX Resources with Jen, and finish with Freak Fan Box before we close. So Dina, we will. So here's how we'll do. We'll do the applause intro, and I'm gonna start with this. Okay. I'm gonna start with
Start with
this.
that.
We don't get fooled again.
And then I'll turn it down, Dina, and
Okay.
you can introduce what Weather Fools is. And I've got two, so I'll start with I have two Weather Fools.
So Phil,
Gonna
Who else
share
has
my
one?
Screen.
I'm
I
gonna
got a
share mine
resource.
too.
I've got two listener contributions.
Nice.
MJ.
That's awesome.
Good.
Who else? I have one. And who else? That's it.
Josh, you got one? Did
Yeah,
you
Josh, you got
raise
Weather
No,
Fools?
no, I've done my work. I'm going to sit
Weather
back.
Yeah, you just sit back and laugh.
So
I'm
here's
gonna
the fun. Here's the fun thing is, Josh, you can obviously now you're part of the gallery, the backseat gallery. So you're welcome to comment on anything that's being said and presented. Okay.
You can tick off whoever you want now. you know?
Yep, you can. Yep, say whatever you want. Have a good time with this. All right, and then we'll turn it. And again, we're Dina, episode 96, show notes, or you can find it a lot of times on your podcast app on your phone. The links to all of these. Weather Fools. And then turn it over to Jen, WX Resources. Jen, go ahead and introduce what it is. And I've got one.
Woohoo! I got one too.
Oh, so you want me to bring in Jen?
Yeah, go ahead and bring
Okay.
in Jen. You don't need me to do
Thanks, Tina.
All right, I will.
that. Jen, Phil, and then Dina, do you have one?
Yes.
Okay. Any other WX resources? Josh, do you want to use this as an opportunity to plug anything as a weather resource?
He
Your
wants to
own
sit back and do
website
nothing.
or your
Oh, yeah,
videos?
exactly.
Or...
I'm going to sit back and enjoy.
All right. That's
Oh,
cool.
Josh, you're so good.
We
I
will,
won't
Josh.
pipe in if I-
Josh, we'll have all your links and everything in the show notes
Yeah.
too, just so you know that.
I'll make a
So-
sassy remark if I feel inclined.
Good.
Is it
Good.
Hurricane Man on Prime? Is that what it is?
It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Amazon Prime.
Good.
Awesome. I'm going to totally watch it now.
You could buy the whole season, I think, for like $14 or whatever. So let me know how you like it. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. All right, and then Jen, when you're done, episode 96,
Show notes.
show notes or your podcast app,
Podcast
and then I'll take it from there. Turn it over to MJ for our Freak Fan Box. Yeah, MJ, you're muted, but yeah, okay. We have Freak Fan Box, and then I'll close it up. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Everybody ready?
Yeah.
All right. So Dina, I'll give do the little intro and the song in 3, 2.
All right, well, it's that time again, and part of our show is called Weather Fools. It's the time of the show where you find a video or something of somebody doing something stupid in weather, and of course, nowadays, everybody with a smartphone can take a picture. And this is the time we get to kind of make a little fun of people. Nothing too mean. But Phil, you have a couple Weather Fools, right?
I do have a couple. I love these good old Weather Fools. So the first one I'm going to cover with you is from Luke Doris. This is on Twitter, at Luke Doris, WPLG. He's a meteorologist in Miami, Florida. And he wanted us to know, Iguana Watch is back. So here's a weather watch I wasn't aware of. It's the Iguana Watch down in southern Florida. But he said, be careful, temperatures dip to near or below 50. The cold-blooded iguanas can freeze up and lose their grip from trees.
That's
and
crazy.
fall from the trees.
What?
And so they just fall. Yep, they fall off the trees.
I wonder if
and-
we can make a polygon with like a color that just changes color with.
Oh,
clever.
nice. I like that.
That is
All right.
clever.
So that's, and I don't truly weather fool. I don't know who's the fool there. Probably the iguana, but
Iguana.
I just kind of thought that was more weather funny than weather fool. And then the last one I've got is, it's winter time,
There you go.
and
Yeah.
ABC News on Twitter
Ooh.
at ABC said cars and buses are skidding and colliding on icy roads as
Whoa.
snowfall in Turkey's capital caused many drivers to lose control. So it's the good old, here's a shot of a hill snowed over, and cars and vans and buses the wheels are locked and they're just sliding on down the hill. And here's
get out
the
of the
stupid
way.
people.
Music.
Yeah, right. Get out of the way.
Yeah.
You got all these
No
stupid people at the
kidding.
bottom of the hill watching on what's happening and what's going on.
Oh man.
And they're crashing. Oh, look
That's
at
a bad
this.
here we
place
go.
to be.
That's
Uh-oh.
dangerous.
Oh boy, that looks good.
Someone was not at the top of the hill telling these people to slow down.
And they probably wouldn't have anyway.
Yeah,
That's true.
probably not. Yeah, because they wanted to videotape it. That's why
Yeah.
they wanted to get on Weather Fools.
You guys, I'm going to admit something as my own weather fool for myself. We don't get snow that much in Atlanta where we are. And I think it was 2-3 years ago. It was a little icy, and I grew up in Rochester, New York. And so I was used to driving in the snow, and it's hilly in Atlanta. And I was leaving my neighborhood. I totally lost control and took out my neighbor's mailbox. I was
Nice.
weather
I think
fool.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I do.
you would
Oh, yeah,
remember
I
that.
remember that.
Yeah. Oh, I took it out. like,
While holding a baseball bat, or did you just do it
No,
with the car?
with my
He was
car and I
pissed.
spun it around the other way. It was, yeah.
All
Mhm.
right.
Wow. Okay,
Confessional.
MJ, you've got some weather fools, right?
I do this time. It's actually their listener contributions. So we're
Okay.
happy for folks that do that. And this first one, it's submitted by MCC Storm Chaser, also known as Giovanni. And this was what prompted the Weather Fool. So they had a graphic about, sort of that time cast, right, of when's the highest chance of precipitation at certain times. And what happened, if I can bring the other one up here, is Sherry chimed in and said, yeah, okay, can't believe everything you see or read. Forecast above, post says at 9 o'clock, 90% rain. Doubtful, as I'm typing this, it's almost 9 o'clock Dallas. It's only light drizzle.
Ah,
Oh man.
Oh, man.
She wants her hourly forecast really specific.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Wow.
Jeez.
hey, they said it was going to start at 2:22.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
2:22.
so there you go. So Sherry's a bit of a weather fool on that one. And then we had Charles Peak chimed in with this one, which is another loses car.
Oh,
in
look at
Jackson,
that.
Mississippi. Yep.
That's so bad.
And it's buffering.
Like the ground
now.
ate him
There it
there.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just,
What
again,
the hell did he fall in? Like
no, it's like it tipped into a hole or over
like
a
Yeah. It went over
Yeah.
a curb.
Yeah.
crazy
Ah.
clown pulled him in the
Heck
drain.
of a curb.
So there you go. Some listener contributions.
Wow,
on
that was a
Weather
good one.
Fool.
Who sent that in?
That was Charles Peak sent that in.
Oh, Charles
Uh,
Peak actually sent it in. Okay,
Sent
great.
it in. Yes.
I love Charles. He's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks,
Does good
Charles.
work.
Mhm.
All right, I
He's
have
really good
one,
guy.
and on your flooding one, this is funny. Can you see this?
They will
So
now.
this was in Russia, and so we can make fun of people in Russia. So what are they going to do? All right, so all these
Dina's
people,
not going to go to Russia. Her visa won't be approved.
I've been there and I've left, and I'm not going back. But look at all these people. Okay, so they parked all their cars on the ice. Now, okay, maybe the ice is thick enough for one car, but when you put like 30 cars on it,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
like
so
does
crazy.
it take a rocket scientist to figure out you're going to go in the water? So all of these went in the water, and they had to be towed out.
God.
Ooh.
I mean, look at this. Like, how?
Wow.
Come on,
Well, and
people.
the engine heat while it's cooling off is
Yeah.
melting the ice.
Was he
Oh,
that's
using
true.
a crowbar to try and pry it up out
They
of the
were
ice?
drinking way too much vodka. It must have been some kind of,
Yeah,
I don't know what
exactly.
even to tell you, but it's so
Josh,
funny.
we're not real politically correct on this show.
No.
By
But,
the way, vodka, one of the ingredients in a White Russian.
We just lost our Smirnoff sponsorship.
yeah, I know. But anyway. All right, so that's a good part
Wow.
of Weather Fools. If you want to see those links, or you could check out episode 96 of the show notes. That's got all the links, and you can watch them all the time. And then now Jen has weather resources. What do you got, Jen?
All right. So, weather resources. This is our section where we have either fun tech, gear, or websites to go to for you to learn about weather, totally geek out about weather. It's awesome. I love this section of the show. I have one, but I want to see if anybody else has one first. Phil, you've got one? Or
one.
Dina has one too.
Dina, why don't you go first? I'll go after you.
Okay, so this one is kind of cool. I'm going to share my screen. It's was from the Tornado Titans originally. And it's kind of like a tutorial, which is normally not what I post on these things, but it talks about photographs from Cameron Nixon. And this is the coolest thing I've watched in a long time. If you want to geek, you can. Now, this is like about 40-minute tutorial, and they talk about, and I don't want to get too technical, but they talk about scutees, they talk about photographs. But the great thing about it is that he actually posts pictures like to the side of it. Like he'll show the photograph, he'll show the picture of what the actual storm looks like. On some of them, he'll show the radar. So
and that's Mr. Scuti to you, by the way, Dina.
I love it though. Like, look at this. This is so cool. Like he shows it, and it's a great learning tool. Like I'm going to save this and go back to it. And especially tomorrow with the severe, I think I'm going to try to
that's cool.
Geek out a little bit. But if you have the time and you're trying to learn about it, because I just find it so interesting. And the fact that he showed these and showed the certain, why you could see the tornado and there wasn't as much rain wrap and everything. It was so cool. I can't keep telling you how cool it is. But if you have the time, go back and check it out. It's about 40 minutes, but you can bookmark it and just go back to it whenever you want.
I love it.
So do you got to get permission? Like if I'm a professor, which I'm not, I played one on TV, but if I were a professor, could I use that?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Because I would definitely want to
I would love it. Like I
Severe
wish I
storm
had that
spot?
kind of stuff. Because when you're just looking at it or reading it in a book, and then you don't have a visualization to think, wait a minute. Because then he showed one thing where you're going to get LP storms, like low precipitation. So you're not going to see, or, if you have low precipitation, you're going to be able to see the tornado from far away. It was really interesting. I learned a lot watching it.
Yeah, Tornado Titans, they've got some great stuff. Rachel Sanner actually put a lot of that stuff together, a lot of the videos. They've got a Titan U section, which is just all educational videos about
and
weather.
Exercise equipment too.
Titan U. The Titan, you're going to tighten
U
some
Gazelle.
Yeah.
Titan U Gazelle.
All right, Phil, you got one.
Yeah, so I'm sharing my screen. So this was something that the National Weather Service is always doing experimental products that I love. Unfortunately, my problem with anything government-wise, it always takes forever to get it out to the actual public for the most part. But they always have great stuff. The stuff they're working on is amazing. So this is through the Weather Prediction Center. And, the SPC, the Storm Prediction Center, is great for getting an idea of tracking what's coming up across the entire country when it comes to a lot of convective storms, thunderstorms, tornado, hail potential, strong winds, all that stuff. Well, the Weather Prediction Center has come up with this. It's called the Experimental Winter Storm Severity Index. And to me, it's very similar to the SPC, 1, 2, 3 day outlook kind of a situation. And so we'll have the links on the show, but you can just search Weather Prediction Center Winter Storm Severity Index, and it'll pull up the website, but it shows you what's going on. The map shows you over the next 1 to 3 days, and it uses colors kind of like the SPC does to show where is the winter weather going to be very severe. Now, that could be just ice. It could be snow. They obviously take into account that 1 inch of snow down in Atlanta is going to be as deadly as 2 feet of snow in, Detroit, Michigan. It takes that into account when it looks at severity and the potential impacts. And then you can look at day 1, what's it look like? What's it going to look like day 2? And then day 3.
Nice, you can break it up.
Yep. Yeah. And of course, off to the side, there's no impact, limited impact, minor impact. And then the severe ones are moderate, major and extreme impacts when it comes to winter weather. And so for me, this is a great way, especially so I work in a university for an athletic department, as we're looking ahead to our athletic events. The Storm Prediction Center has been great for our spring, summer, fall athletic events that are outdoors. But then when it comes to the winter time, being able to have something like this to really, in my opinion, have something official, right? Something that we can say, hey, we're making decisions based on the National Weather Service's Winter Storm Severity Index as to, are we going to run this event, not run the event, move it up, move it back, all those things that we would make if we were in the spring or summer when it comes to convective storms and moving or changing events. So
I like it.
Yeah, it's really, really neat, and they're still obviously working on it. They give you an opportunity to provide feedback if you want.
I like that. That's
Cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Very
We'll
cool.
try it out tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Yeah.
true.
We got
All right.
severe tomorrow. We got winter tomorrow. We got all kinds of stuff tomorrow.
We've got everything.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see if I can do it, guys, accurately.
You can do it. I believe in you.
You
You
can do
believe
it.
in me, guys?
Do it.
Am I doing it?
Not yet.
There, you're doing it.
No skeletons. Good
We
job.
got it.
All right. So the first one, this is the American Meteorological Society, and it's their weather resources page. And they break down literally every kind of resource you could ever want, whether you're a teacher, a weather geek, or even a meteorologist too, and want some of these. They have the AMS Glossary of Meteorology. If you live in Boston, the storm talks that they do, the bookstore, but then they do a whole overview of the United States and the Storm Prediction Center, Weather Underground, USA Today, all these different sites and places where you can find data and specific data. They go through the raw data, the maps, the imagery, literally like
Ooh, I
Penn
like
State.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see Ohio State University Weather Twister.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a great site.
Yeah. And then when it comes to educational stuff, they've got a lot of stuff from NOAA, from their space place, anything you can think of, and then any level kind of education. I mean, it goes on, and it's just, I mean, literally you could spend like a year just reading through and going through all these.
Good
So
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
great.
Good.
it's a really good resource. And I have one more kind of fun one. So, and this you might
Is this
find
a
this
heated
interesting.
ice scraper?
No,
Oh,
no, this is the Osmo Pocket 4K. Have you heard about this, Josh?
Yes, and I'm actually was planning on learning about it, so this is perfect timing, actually.
Yeah, so this is one, so in like the social media community is starting to grow a little bit and be big because it's like the tiniest little pocket handheld camera, and the quality of the video that it produces is insane. You get the audio too. We had one of our friends that's an entrepreneur, she went to a conference and did a whole bunch of videotaping and everything with this. And you would have thought it was like some fancy camera. And it was just this little pocket thing, and you can fit it in anywhere. This is basically on my wish list. I'm going to be saving up for this little puppy, but I don't even know how small it really is.
It looks like it's got some kind of stability control.
Yes.
Based
So
on
I
how,
have,
yeah, okay.
so
That's
I have,
really cool.
I have
Yeah.
a larger one that's like weighted, where I can move it around and it stabilizes everything.
Yep.
But this one is small, and like you could whip it out anywhere, whether you have kids, you're storm chasing, anything.
That is very
Hey
cool.
Jim, do you guys know if that's like got a Wi-Fi or Bluetooth that you can upload without connecting?
I think it does. I'm
Does it?
actually not sure of that because I don't have this one. But let's see, we can go through it right now.
Is there an optional?
We can let
We
it.
can wait.
other
I'll
people
look
check
at
it
it.
out.
I will
Yeah.
look. That is
Yeah.
cool.
But it's awesome. So, and you can find all of this. This is episode 96, the show notes. And you can find it on the app too, on the website. We have all the little goodies, nooks and crannies of the entire show on there. But yeah, that's on my wish list to
Awesome.
get for my
Cool.
birthday, hopefully.
Thank you.
Is
for
there
that.
an
That's
optional
wonderful.
windshield wiper on that? So when you get your,
Yeah.
Send me a postcard.
I don't know.
Drop me a line. You got mail, baby. Yeah.
All right, it's time for our freak fan box. MJ, we got anybody?
We got mail from @the funky girl,
Whoa, yeah.
Woo! That's
she
awesome.
chimes in. I love podcasts. I think it's because it feels like learning while doing things that don't take a ton of brain power, like cleaning, computer work, etc. However, I burn through them fast, so I need some new ones. She says, I'll share some of my faves and hopefully you'll share yours. And I read that because she follows that right up with @Stormfront Freak for my storm chaser weather addict self. Some
Nice.
episodes I skip, but others are downright fascinating.
Now she won't be
Alright.
skipping this one.
She will
damn it.
not be
Don't
skipping.
Not
Yeah.
96. No, not 96.
Very much fascinating. So thank you at Funky Girl, at The Funky Girl. And thanks to all of our listeners. You can always chime in with us by tweeting to us at Stormfront Freak or email us at questions@stormfrontfreaks.com.
Very good. All right. So I think that just about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks podcast. We want to thank you all for listening or watching. Before I go ahead and reveal who our next guest is going to be, I want to let you know MJ is doing it on the lower third if you're watching this already. So
It went by too fast.
What do you
that's a
mean by that?
spoiler. That's a spoiler. But anyway, I want to let you guys know we love reviews. So if you guys, whatever, especially if you're on Apple Podcasts, you're allowed to leave reviews that are written. But we love reviews, especially if you love the show. Let us know what you love. And if it's one that you can write, we'll actually try and share that on our next show. And don't forget to subscribe. Every podcast app you listen to us on usually should have some kind of subscribe or follow button. It works just like a newspaper or magazine, but it's free. You hit subscribe, and all that means is when we upload the next show, you're going to get it right in your inbox the minute it's there and not have to wait. So I definitely, on behalf of all the co-hosts, special thanks, Josh, to you for being on the show tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank
A
you.
lot of fun. Great stories, and definitely wish you best on hopefully season 2 of Hurricane Man. But our next episode, we're going to be recording live on YouTube Thursday, the 23rd. So we're a bi-weekly show. It's going to be 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. We're going to be with Fox News Chief Meteorologist Rick Reichmuth, who's going to be returning to the show. So we had a great time with Rick when he was on last time. So we're going to have a lot of fun. So for MJ, Maz, Dina, Jen, and Josh, I'm going to go ahead and signal the all clear, and we will catch you guys next time. So have a good night.
Bye.
Josh, thank you very much, brother.
Awesome.
Thank you.
It's great having you on.
Thank you, guys.
Josh,
Awesome
you're so
show. It was a lot of
amazing.
fun.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, I have one more question. Can I ask you it?
Oh, yeah.
No,
like,
no way.
We're still live.
Gonna
You
get
got our
So
attention.
since you're like a fitness kind of guru, health person, like what are the 3 things you do to stay healthy? Like, are you a like lemon water person in the morning? Like, is there special stuff that supplements you take?
Bun burner
You
at
know,
night.
I'm old fashioned. I don't
Bun
no
burner.
gimmicks. Just balanced diet, low in carbs, but not no carbs. I don't believe in any gimmick diets. Just keep the carbs low and put in time. Do a mix of weights and cardio. Just it's boring hard work. It's like there's no like golden arrow kind of thing. At least not for me. But that works for me. And I'll tell you, the fitness thing. It's not just like it's not just wellness. I was saying in my notes to Phil, it's like chasing the way I do. I've got to be in shape. 14-hour flight, 3-hour flight, 20-hour drive, no sleep for 2 days. You got to be in
Crazy.
shape for that. So
That's awesome. That's so interesting, Josh. Thank you for being on the show
Yeah,
and for
Guys
hanging
are
around.
awesome.
I will, Josh. So we typically upload the show to all the podcast apps Sunday.